Ms. Soumya Gogineni. Sahitya, over to you.
Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. So now Soumya Gogineni graduated from VNR in Electronics and Communication Engineering in the year 2006, after which she went on to a data engineer at Infosys, serving a British telecom in the CRM, that means Customer Relationship Management space, in 2009. So in 2009, Soumya went to the US to pursue her MBA from Kelley School of Business, Indiana University, majoring in marketing and finance, graduating in the year 2011. So post MBA, she worked for 3 years at a Fortune 500 company's home improvement conglomerate called Masco, headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, as the product leader for sliding doors, launching the product in the US market. After Moscow, Soumya joined Amazon as a senior supply chain manager for US textbooks, which was a $4 billion business in the year 2013. She worked closely with the Amazon machine learning scientists to automate key part of the logistics to drive the cost down by $100 mm. Over the last 8 years at Amazon, Soumya has worked on improving Amazon catalog quality using machine learning, and currently as the senior manager leads product and technology teams to protect Amazon customers from the fraudulent sellers. So today I'm proudly introducing Soumya Gogineni as our alumni. Welcome to VNRVJIET, Soumya. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do I start or is there anything? Yes, ma'am.
Over to Soumya. Please, ma'am, you can start.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Sahitya, ma'am, and Krishnasri, ma'am, and also the VNR management for giving me the opportunity. I hope I'm audible. Am I clear, ma'am?
Yes, you are clear, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. So I can't see the students, but a very good morning to all of you. Like ma'am mentioned, I graduated from ECE at VNR in 2006. So it has been 15 years since I walked out of the institution. And I carry with me very special memories and great friendships, and I'm very excited to connect with you all today. VNR will always hold a special place in my heart because, like all of you, I worked really hard in my intermediate to land in a esteemed college like VNR, and 4 years went by very quickly. I have a special place also for our physical trainer, sir, Sri Ramulu, sir. I don't know if he'll listen to this, but because he encouraged us back then to set up a women's volleyball team. Our batch had the first women volleyball team, and I was the captain. It's a different story that we didn't win a lot of medals, but I love that the college supported us and encouraged us to play the sport, gave us the uniforms, and we had a great time. So I remember that as well, and it's a special memory for me. And first of all, before I start my speech, I would like to acknowledge that the last 2.5 years during the pandemic time have been difficult for all of us. Each of us had to face and overcome our own set of challenges. So as students who are going to start a new chapter in your life, I congratulate all of you for your hard work and resilience during these difficult times. I think in the last 22 months, just surviving itself is an achievement, on top of which writing these competitive exams, preparing for those, and living in an online world has not been easy. So my congratulations to all the students who are now joining ECE in VNR and starting their new chapter in life. And I want to say I also want to say the next 4 years for all of you who are starting your college, it's very exciting, and the next 4 years will go by very quickly. So I urge all of you to form good friendships and nurture them. Have a great time, have fun, but also take advantage of the learning resources that the college has to offer. VNR's infrastructure has only increased every year, and it has excellent professors and resources. So while all of you are having a good time forming friendships, I also urge that you use this time well to understand about the trends around you and how the world is changing around you. And that's what I want to spend the next a few minutes in my talk about, at least some of the high level observations I have made as part of leading teams at Amazon, and also just as somebody who has been working for the last 13 years, both in the US and in India. And I think we have about 90 minutes together today, of which I think I'll spend about 45 minutes sharing my thoughts about the industry. And I would love to give you some time for any questions, because I think one-way talk is very boring. If I'm in your place, I would also find it very boring if I don't, if I can't connect with the speaker. So I would love to hear from you on any questions you have. So 45 minutes, I'll share my thoughts and observations, and then maybe 15 minutes or so, I would love to just hear back from the students for any questions. And they don't have to be subject specific. I'm here, and I would love anything about career, general or specific subject related. I'd love to take from all of you. So with that background, I would like to start our talk. So first, a little bit about myself. I know ma'am had given a high level overview, but I just want to introduce myself to you all and maybe share some parts of my journey. So after graduating as an electronics and communications engineer in 2006, I joined Infosys, working for British Telecom in their customer relationship management. So I was working out of Hyderabad itself, and I'm a Hyderabadi at heart. So I've been raised here all my life. My father is in the police department. So, but luckily we never got transferred. So all my education was in Hyderabad. My schooling, my intermediate, and my college. After which I joined Infosys, which is also in Hyderabad. And I think, excuse me. So I think joining and working for Infosys right after college was a great experience because it at least gave me an exposure to how big companies worked, right? And I met different people and understood how managers work and how we talk to customers or clients, and really how technology is helping a business. So after 3 years of that, I felt it was a good time for me to get an MBA, because I really wanted to understand the finance side of things. I wanted to understand marketing, and also work more with the customers, because that interaction required certain business fundamentals. And so I went back to school again. It was Kelley School of Business. It's in Indiana University. It's so it's in Indiana, in the US. So I went there for my MBA in 2009. And Kelley School is ranked #1 in the US for marketing. So it was again a fantastic experience. It's a great learning. I was a student again, and the 2 years were very, very grueling, but also it opened up a whole world of possibilities. And I met with students from different countries, learned a lot, appreciated diversity. And then I think that was a good foundation for my career to begin after the MBA. After MBA, I joined this firm called Masco, which is out of Michigan. And what they do is they're into home improvement, but they are an $8 billion company. So they were a Fortune 500 company. They had about 50 to 60 small companies under Masco name. And so I joined as a product manager responsible for their doors. So they're into construction, right? So they're into home improvement and construction. So the product that I was given I was in charge of was a launch a sliding door in these huge homes, in these $1 million homes. And I worked over the next 3 years. I focused on understanding the product, understanding the customers, as well as the finance aspect of it and marketing. The other interesting thing at Masco was that I was the only woman, not just the only woman, but also only women of color. So there's this term called person of color, which means the rest of the team were all Americans, and they were all over 50 years, and they were all male. So working at Masco not just helped me understand the business fundamentals and in real world, but also helped me groom my personality and how I can be successful in a room where everybody else is different from me. right? Because I was the only woman, I was the youngest in the room, and I was also a different background and accent and culture. So it really pushed me and helped me learn a lot of things outside of just the business aspects, and I cherish that very much. But my career's turning point came when I joined Amazon. So after I launched the doors, the product in the US market, I was looking to join a tech company because I was always a techie at heart. So Amazon happened, and I joined Amazon in 2013 as a senior supply. I joined in the supply chain business of the US textbooks. So US textbooks, as you can imagine, basically our job was to make sure students such as yourself, when they're back to school and order textbooks online at Amazon, should get them at the in the quickest possible way, and also offer a best possible price, right? And that's what Amazon is about. So my job in this whole thing of US textbook business was to make sure that the textbooks came on time. So the supply chain and logistics, because there's a whole background that happens before a customer actually gets a book in the brown box, right? So I joined the supply chain team as a senior supply chain manager. I worked with transportation. I worked with vendors like Tata McGraw-Hill, Pearson, Cengage, etc., who are all into the publishing business and who are supplying the books. Then I also worked with our the machine learning team and data scientists who are trying to figure out how do we automate and do it more efficiently, etc. Who are trying to forecast the books, predict weather patterns, and all to make sure that students had what they needed in time for their schools and colleges. And so that was really my starting point in terms of getting exposed to like massive data, massive machine learning models, and how we can really harness all of that to do a better job for our customers. And as you might know, that Amazon, which is now what it started in '94, right? So it's 2004. It's about 27 years old company today, but it started its journey with by selling books. So I happened to also join the oldest team in Amazon, and so there were these experts and a lot of automation that was going on there, and so I got exposed to all of that as a result because there was a lot of innovation happening at books division at the time of my joining. So after doing that for about 2.5 years or something, I had to come back to this was in Seattle. And so Amazon is headquartered in Seattle, and I joined their headquarters and I started working there. Then I had to move back to Hyderabad because my husband started a recycling company. I mean, it is still a startup, it's still going strong, but at that time he was just setting it up. And that was basically to recycle plastic to produce granules, which will then again go back into making a plastic product like a chair or a shampoo bottle, etc. So I had to move back, but I was having a great career and exposure. I was more importantly learning a lot in Seattle. So I went to my manager. She was a director, Danica, and I told her I have to move back. And they were kind enough to say, we like your work, but and we can keep you as part of our team, but you have to come up with the job description of what you want to do in Hyderabad. So in Hyderabad, there was no role available for me. But because they liked my work, my leadership supported me and said, it's fine, you can go back to Hyderabad and we can still keep you as part of our team. But you have to tell me what you will do and how you will help us. So I ended up coming back to Hyderabad, thinking about, what kind of a problem I can solve. And I wrote a 2-page document about it, paper, and then presented it to my leadership, so the directors at US Textbooks Business. And they really liked the idea I proposed. And so they've given me some budget and said, go build a team in Hyderabad and please solve this problem for us. And that is how I started my Amazon Hyderabad or India career. So where I went ahead and built our own team ground up. So I was employee number 1 for this US books division. And then I started building a team. As well as I also got the opportunity to name the project. and I named it Project Pearl. Pearl because I love jewelry. I don't know. I think it's a weakness for a lot of women. But I also know that Hyderabad is called the city of pearls. So I named my team Project Pearl. And then we grew from strength to strength, and we actually ended up expanding our team to not just US textbooks, but to 5 other big categories at the end of it. And that's when I got promoted to a senior manager, as Amazon had recognized the efforts and hard work of my team and myself in through Project Pearl. So as senior manager, I got an opportunity to lead large teams where there were three problems that or three things that I've been doing. So one is improving catalog quality, which is so when you guys, I think I would have loved to see a show of hands of how many of you use Amazon for your shopping needs. I think a lot of you do. Now, when you go online and you want to buy a T-shirt, you go look at the image and you look at the description. You wanted to buy a black T-shirt, which is medium sized. And that's what the description said. And you go and order it, but you get a blue T-shirt. That's a poor experience, right? Yes, you can return it, etc. But that should not have happened in the first place. So my job was to make sure that a person who wanted a black T-shirt, medium sized, should get a black T-shirt, medium sized. That means, how do we improve the description in the website? How do we make sure our catalog quality is good? The product matches with what we are describing. And just imagine, at Amazon, anything you touch is billions of dollars or units in scale, right? So how can I improve catalog quality for about 4 billion products without using machine learning or without using automation? I could not. So as a part of improving Amazon catalog quality, I had to go and work very closely with our data scientists and machine learning teams to figure out how do we do it at scale, right? How do we improve it without really hiring people after people after people who are just sitting there and clicking buttons to look at the product and read the description, look at the product. So that's not the right way to do. And so there again, we started using ML models very heavily to improve catalog quality, and that's the team I led. The second problem, and which is what I'm currently doing at Amazon, that I'm trying to solve, is to stop these fraudsters. We call them bad actors. To stop bad actors from posing as sellers, good, genuine sellers, and they come and start selling fake products on Amazon. Amazon has become so huge that there's a lot of good happening, but there's also, we have to be very vigilant about the money laundering and fraud and counterfeit that's also happening. So my job right now is, as I own a team, to lead these efforts to stop these bad actors from cheating customers. And and this is a global role, so it's not just for India, but I own a team that does it worldwide. Again, how do we do it? We cannot, by any means, and this is way more complicated than improving catalog, is what I learned, because the fraudsters are very intelligent. They rely on deep learning techniques. And so we have to really improve our game to be able to stay ahead and protect our customers. So even here, I have a team of data scientists, software engineers, as well as technologists and machine learning experts who all work with my product team to protect our customers, so protect our store. And I think, and so that's basically what I'm doing right now. And the reason I wanted to share this is to just give you a glimpse of, I don't know if I want to call myself an expert, but as somebody who's been in the industry, talking to the group of students who are just starting their educational journey, I want to just share my background and then move into the 2-3 trends that I'm observing, so that you guys at least will remember certain keywords, as you go through, keep them at the back of your mind, and when the time is right, you should start reading about them. Because I think from when I joined VNR, to now, 15 years fast forward to now, things are changing at a much, much higher pace. And it's very important for all of you to stay vigilant. As much as you want to have fun and build your connections and, um, enjoy your college life, it's also equally important that you gain these new skills. Unfortunately, our education system is not, it's still working hard and there are a lot of changes happening, but the skill gap is there. So I just wanted to do my part, however small it is, by sharing some of these trends with you guys. So that's my background. That's what I do at Amazon. And with that, I just want to move into the back half of my talk, which is the trends that I have noticed as an industry person. So uh, I hope I'm doing fine. Is there are there any questions at all, ma'am, or it's all good? I can continue. Everybody's muted and off, so I'm not even sure who I'm talking to.
Ma'am, they are joined through YouTube channel, ma'am. So they
Yeah.
can't.
Ah, Soumya, I think they cannot talk to you directly.
Okay.
So maybe at the end
Okay.
you can have that SMS. Any questions is there, they can ask.
Okay, ma'am.
You
Okay,
can
then
continue as if they are listening.
okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, coming to the trends, okay, key changes I've observed in my experience so far. So, we all know that data is abundant, right? Access to it is almost, instantaneous. And this technology using that data is changing how each of us is interacting with the world. I think the students are still relatively young, but 10 years ago, I would not have imagined. So 10 years ago, I graduated from VNR and I would have joined Infosys, right? At that time, I would not have imagined there would be Swiggy. Like I wouldn't imagine that I wanted a pastry and it would come in 1 hour, right? Or I needed a cab. If I could just book a cab and go from anywhere to anywhere at any time. Things like this, which now are part of, and of course, I don't have to talk to you guys, this generation about Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or Twitter. All of this was non existent. And I'm not even talking about a generation ago, I'm talking about 10 to 12 years ago. And this kind of machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep science, nothing. So I think the pace of change is so high, and all of it is because data is abundant. Like access to information is so instantaneous. This young college goers today, you can Google and do your research, and if you're persistent, find authentic sources, and you can teach your professors. I'm pretty much sure, like if you have the persistence, you can actually illuminate the class, because there's so much access to information which my time did not have. So I think this is going to be a norm, right? I mean, I think there's a video at Amazon that we show new joinees, like freshers, when they join the company. What we show is we want, or we as in Amazon wants to get to a place where it wants to deliver you a product that you did not even think you need. So it wants to deliver the product today for something that you think you will need tomorrow. So that's actually it's a running joke where that's where Amazon wants to be. It wants to deliver the products yesterday for something that you didn't even order. And that, my friends, is actually it is going to be a reality. It's not that far away, is my point. Where these machines can read your mind, they can predict patterns, and for the most part make our lives easy, but also can be dangerous if we have too much dependence. So coming back to this point about the data access and this whole Zomatos and Swiggies of the world, and how technology is changing the way we interact with each other as human beings, as well as with the world. I think we've reached an inflection point, which means we have reached a critical point right now. Like after Amazon Web Services, I don't know how many of you in the room are aware of AWS, it had actually started. It is the first pioneer who started cloud computing, right? Storing in the cloud. So it has been 15 years, more than 15 years ago, this whole cloud concept was started by AWS, Amazon Web Services. Now, cloud infrastructure has evolved to a place where we are seeing all parts of the cloud reach practically anywhere in the planet. Now, this cloud infrastructure is going to space as well. So, and before I, and this cloud has allowed what was once science fiction to become science fact. These machine learning models and techniques in artificial intelligence have only gotten better and better. So much so that we see these use cases emerging that we only saw them in movies or comics, right? Star Wars. I don't know how many of you are a fan of Star Wars or Matrix, movies like that. Those are all going to be very much reality. It's no longer something that we'll watch in a theater. And before I move into these concepts of machine learning and artificial intelligence, and I want to tie it back to your subject, which is electronics and communication, because without good hardware or electronics or communication devices, how can anybody harness this technology I'm talking about? Right? That's where you guys come in, or that's where the education that you're going to receive come into play. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that the audience is aware of what machine learning means. What is machine learning? And the short form is ML, so we just refer to it as ML sometimes. But basically, machine learning systems, what they do is they discover patterns, hidden patterns in data, right? And they use those patterns to make a future prediction. It's just like how small children learn a new language. I shouldn't say small children. It's similar to how children learn a new language or learn to recognize objects. So, for example, a 5-year-old child, the child can speak grammatically correct English, right? If you continually speak English at home, I have a 6-year-old son. He speaks very good Telugu, but he doesn't know how to read and write Telugu, right? But he speaks Telugu without knowing a single grammar rule of Telugu. Same with English. So essentially, how is he doing that? He's doing that because he learns to speak the language from listening to adults speaking around him or her. So similarly, these ML models also start making predictions based on listening or based on processing the data that already exists. And because data is so abundant and cheap, these ML models have so much to take from. Just as this child is absorbing so much of the language, they absorb these data and then they identify patterns and they start making future predictions. So that's basically what machine learning models do, right? So, and now at this point, given that background, I just want to highlight a couple of trends where electronics and communications come into play, you know? So one is this whole new wave of connectivity that will bring about a new class of application. I'm not sure if the group has heard of what we call low Earth orbit satellites. It's called LEO. LEO as in zodiac sign Leo. That's the short form. So low Earth orbit satellites. What they're going to do is they are actually being launched by Project, I think Kuiper. It's called. So Amazon is launching it. Elon Musk's company SpaceX is launching it. They're starting to launch satellites at a very low orbit of Earth. And what that will do is it will make broadband very cheap and accessible in the most remotest parts of the world. So just imagine this: go to the hinterlands of India or Africa, go to Himalayas or Vindhyas, wherever it is, or a Sahara desert, and imagine having connectivity. That is what this LEO satellites will do. Amazon is launching its first set of LEO satellites by August of next year. So this LEO satellites, what they will do, and that's where communications will come into play, guys, where this will change the lives of billions of people. As teachers, students, businesses, virtually anybody can get online, right? Or anybody in the village, remotest parts. So over the next 5 years, more than 20,000 satellites are going to fan out in LEO above our planet. Like I said, among those 1,500 will be Amazon's network of satellites. And our goal is that this planet scale broadband will just will open up a whole new range of what a human being can do. And I think as communications engineers, you must be plugged into what is going on in that space and how you can, make a career out of it. Because that's going to be the future. Now, uh, the other trend that I have for you is basically the rise of smart spaces, especially in senior care. So, what do I mean by smart spaces? I think you might already be aware, right, where we can open a window with a click of a button, lock your door with a click of a button. Excuse me. Lock your window. You can basically control your house just through the app, and not just the house, but your car through the app, and you name it, anything. And so I think these smart spaces will only increase and become more and more mainstream. Right now, very few people who are very rich and with certain kind of connectivity are able to enjoy the benefits. But what this whole LEO satellites will do is connectivity will be worldwide, and everybody will have equal opportunity to connect online, to access internet. Imagine what that will do to education. A person who's having a fire in his belly and wants to do well, but he's from a village, also can access internet at the same speed and pace at which a cosmopolitan person who's also a student in a big school can access, right? So it will just make it a level playing field for education, for healthcare, for businesses. So all you need is at that point it will become brains and basic level of income to make sure you have access to those hardware. So but in that sense, coming to the next end of smart spaces, sorry, so going back to the smart spaces point, in 2022, so it's just next year, our homes and buildings will become better assistants and more attentive companions to truly help with our most human needs. And the greatest impact will be for the elderly. So, according to our World Health Organization, the proportion of world's population over 60 years will nearly double from 12 to 22%. You know that? And by 2020, which means by last year, number of people over 60 years and older will outnumber children younger than 5 years. So our planet will have over 60 years more number of people who are over 60 than children who are under 5 years, which is not a great sign, right? And all the countries will face major challenges because the healthcare and social systems will be under extreme strain. So elderly needs to be taken care of, but the number of people who are willing to do so, now we are in nuclear families. This whole multi-generational setup is not there. And people are aging, more number of people are aging. So technology will come and plug that gap of taking care of the elderly. Not just the elderly, but smart homes will be more attentive and literally will be living just as you are living. They'll listen to you, they'll get better with machine learning models, they'll know when to turn off and on lights, when to dim a light, they know when to heat the water in the kettle. And this is all not science fiction anymore. So you are, as a human being, you're more productive. So as soon as you wake up, the blinds are out, the curtain is on, the bed sets itself, and the water is warm for you to go brush your teeth or freshen up. The breakfast is ready. So all of these smart homes is the projects companies like Amazon and other cutting edge like Honeywell, etc., are working on. And there again, they're going to use the data on machine learning models. Like for example, there's a company in Japan, guys. It's called Z Works. It's called alphabet Z Works. It focuses on improving elder care. And what does it do? It actually offers the services that very few human beings are willing to do to serve the elderly. So, what for example, this company has arrived at a way to arrange seniors in bed, and throughout rooms they put sensors, right? And they all connected those sensors to the cloud. I just talked about cloud a few minutes ago. So these sensors, which are planted in the bed, in different rooms in the senior homes, they're all connected to cloud for continuous data analysis. And these sensors don't just monitor vital signs, not just the vital signs of if the person's alive or not. Because they are run on machine learning models, which are trained in the cloud, the sensors also can tell if a person goes to the bathroom and simply does not return. Because with elders, this happens, right? They are very prone to falling down. And so these sensors can also give you that indication of if somebody's gone to the bathroom and doesn't return. Then they can notify somebody on duty to check if the resident is okay or not. So if you have a population that is in millions and millions of people who are aging, how can you care for them if there are not enough human beings who are willing to do the job through technology, through machine learning? So, and we are also approaching a point where concepts like ambient computing, Internet of Things sensors, and smart devices like Amazon Alexa, they're all going to have this positive impact on the quality of life. Again, all of this is not possible if we don't have the right electronic devices to harness this technology. And that is where you guys come in, like understanding these trends and then figuring out how you can become a domain expert and lead or join these companies who are doing this cutting edge technology. So over the next several years, we'll see a lot of smart spaces come into life in a number of settings. But I think the biggest impact will be, like I said, with elder care. So this will be a combination of simple tasks like dimming lights, locking doors, and switching off the oven if someone forgets, right? To more proactive things like asking questions when somebody is behaving differently, right? Or enacting common sense solutions when necessary. So this will result in taking better care of people. And in the case of aging populations, it means we will create a new class of homes so that people can actually stay at home. So these are the tools. Just to summarize, I know I've spoken a lot, but just to, if you don't remember anything else, just remember these two things. So machine learning, which is basically the example I gave, is like a small child learning language by listening to elders in the house. The child gets the rules of grammar perfectly, like they speak very good language without even knowing the rules. And that's what machine learning does, is it listens to data constantly, and data is everywhere. It's so abundant, it's in the cloud, and it gets better and better, and it starts making predictions. So these machine learning models and AI, artificial intelligence, will help us solve different problems. And by the time all of you graduate in 4 years from now, the two trends that I am betting on, or at least I have observed, is one is the communication will become very ubiquitous. It'll become very common, right? So I hail from a very remote village. I grew up in Hyderabad, but my father comes from this village in Guntur district. I think it is not far away from that village having that internet connection. And the kids that go to that village school, right? They have access to the same amount of internet like possibilities that somebody in Hyderabad, where my son is going to, will have. That is what will happen 3 to 4 years from now. And that's what these low Earth orbit satellites will do. It will cause a major disruption, not just in education, but also healthcare and underserved communities, reforestation. Now we are seeing Earth, our planet is going to dogs, right? I mean, we are not taking care of it. All of this technology is great, all of this automation is great, but we don't even have clean water to drink, good food to eat. It's a whole different topic, and I'm very passionate about that topic. But the point is, I think with this technology, with this Leo, once we launch these Leo satellites, we can also tell if the reforestation is happening, green cover is good or not, water table is it good or not, all of that, soil quality. No, all of that also can be helped improve. Agriculture can improve by leaps and bounds. So, anyway, so I'm very excited about that. So, satellite communication will improve by leaps and bounds. The second trend is the smart homes, and mostly for I think for me the important problem the smart homes will solve is for aged population, because more and more families are nuclear. I know this, and people are aging faster than younger people are being added to the population. So there'll come a time where suddenly 40% of the whole population will be over 60 years of age, and there'll be very few people to take care of them. And so this advent of combination of machine learning and technology and electronic sensors to harness that data will help us design smart homes. And this will also improve productivity for young people, right? So it's not just about old people, but the younger people will be more productive, and they won't have to spend time doing everyday jobs, and they can focus and think better on what matters the most. And so that's what will happen as part of the trend, or that's what I see as part of the trends. And Amazon's doing a lot of confidential projects. I wish I could share a few, but just know that this is not very far away, whatever I'm sharing. And I urge all of you to, it's a very exciting time to be a student. It's also a very complex time, I'll be honest. I think this whole internet, access to technology, all your smartphones, the whole distraction through social media has added more challenges to you guys. I think I lived in the simpler times compared to you. So it's like a knife with both the sides are sharp, right? So with the knife you can cut your hand or you can cut the fruit. I hope that you guys, as you start this journey, use this technology and data that you have to your advantage. And as Steve Jobs would say, stay hungry and stay foolish. As well as my mentor Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon, would say, it's still day one. So you have a long way to go. It's very much day one, but I wish you all the best, and be sure to have fun. Like, this time will not come back. So enjoy, build those relationships, and have great friendships, but also stay open to these trends because times are changing much faster. So if you snooze, you lose. If you sleep, you lose the race. So with that, I think I'll conclude my talk, and thank you for listening. And over to you for any questions. And these questions, remember, they don't have to be on the topics I just talked about. I just wanted to plant some seeds in your head, some words on machine learning, artificial intelligence, low Leo satellites, just the words. So if you don't remember anything else, remember these words. But if you have any questions in general, I'm here to talk. Thanks.
Hello, Soumya.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Thank you so much. You have nicely integrated the traditional technologies and the cutting edge technologies. So the talk is very nice, exciting, and clearly understandable by young first years.
Thank you.
So excited. So you have nicely integrated the technologies which they are studying in their graduation and what they have to be used in the industry. So it is clearly explained and very, very nice. So thank you for gracing our invitation and then sharing your knowledge in your field to your juniors, maybe the young first years. So it's very nice, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. So questions now, so they cannot ask. So maybe if anything is there, we can pass it to you. Okay. So if I, is it, I mean, like, not objectionable for you to share your email ID to our students so that they can talk to you?
Sure, ma'am. I can share it with Saithya, ma'am. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think she
We
has
will
it.
share.
Okay.
I'll take it from Sahicha and then I'll share it to the students.
Yes.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation once again.
Yes, ma'am. My pleasure. I had a good time chatting. So thanks again for the opportunity and all the best, guys. Remember, stay hungry and stay foolish. Bye now. I'm going to log off now, ma'am.
Okay, ma. Thank you so much. Hi, Ratin. How are you, ma?
Ma'am, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, fine. So after a long time, it's my pleasure to see you. Okay, in this
It
context.
is wonderful being here. It's wonderful being here.
Yeah, I'm glad to introduce my favorite student to our students, new students. Uh, so our next talk will be from Ratin Radhakrishnan, who is also our alumni, and he's working as manager in IBM, HR manager. So the brief introduction of Ratin, I would like to Alekhya to give the introduction about the Ratin. So over to Alekhya. Please carry on.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, Rathin sir. Yes, ma. Good morning, one and all. Here I take the privilege to introduce today's guest, Mr. Ratin Radhakrishnan Garu. Coming to his profile, Ratin Radhakrishnan Garu is a passionate HR professional with a keen interest in data-driven decision making, HR management, and business strategy. He is a graduate of IBM's Leadership Development Program, a multi-year global rotational program dedicated to accelerating skill development and leadership capability of select individuals within IBM. Ratin has master's degree in human resource management from Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and bachelor's of degree in electronics and communication from VNRVJIET, India. Gives him a unique mix of technical and management skills required for the current generation of HR leaders. In his free time, Ratin loves to cook and travel. He is a comic book fan and loves to watch movies across all languages and genres. Thank you, sir. Thank you and welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Alekia. Thank you so much.
So Ratin, it's over to you. Please, you can start, ma.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll get started because the speaker before me, Saumya, made it really easy for my job because she definitely touched upon a bunch of topics in terms of what is trending in the industry, how things are changing. So so I think my job has become a lot more easier. So what I wanted to, quickly share with everyone is, there are certain things changing. Change is very difficult. It is not very easy for us to grasp, to understand, especially for all of you. You're coming in fresh, joining an engineering college, looking forward to 4 years of your growth, your expansion of knowledge, and suddenly people come to you and tell you everything is changing. So let me show you a small video on how change affects people. All right, so let me quickly try here to attempt to share my screen. Krishna ma'am, is that okay?
Yes, Ratin. I am Sahitya. Yes, Ratin.
Okay, great. Please tell me when you can see my screen, ma'am.
Yes, Ratin.
You can see it? Okay, great.
Yes.
Great. All right. And please stop me if you're unable to hear the video. Okay, unable to hear the audio from this clip. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button right away.
Hi, Ratin. There is no audio.
All right. Thank you for letting me know. Let me just check. Okay, let me attempt this one more time. Let me know if you can see, hear anything.
No, not audible.
Still not audible?
Yeah,
Okay.
not audible.
I'll put the subtitles so we can just quickly look at
Yes,
it.
yes, yes, that would be better.
It's a little unfortunate we couldn't get the audio going on that one, but that typically talks about how we deal with any change that comes in our lives. First, it's very difficult for us to accept a change, so we go through the process where we experience anger, we experience denial, we experience something like we just don't want to accept the change. And finally, when certain things come together, we get a better understanding of what is happening. That's when acceptance comes in, and that's when we can actually jump in and take initiative and make sure that what is changing is realized and we do not miss the boat on accepting that fact. So one of the good examples our last speaker gave us is she said something to the effect of Amazon is doing something that we don't know we need yet, meaning we didn't know that we needed something like an Uber to travel around the city today, 10 years ago. So we didn't know that. So they are working on things which we do not know we would need, say, 5 years from today. So to get into that mode, they would have gone through all these processes, all these experiences to say, okay, there is something that is changing with technology. There is something that is changing in the industries. And so unless you have a clear idea or a clear grasp of what is changing, how you fit into the equation, you really can't go forward and start being successful or contribute your bit to that particular change. So since our last speaker has covered variety of topics in terms of what is changing, let me give you some of the ideas or some of the tools that can help you understand, identify this change. Make sure you are sharpening your knife. When I mean sharpening your knife, I mean enhancing your skills to be ready to deal with this change, and then go forward and make sure that you implement it and make sure that you have a valuable contribution in what's changing. So I'll try to be very brief, and I will explain to you four things that we need. So the first thing that we need to understand what is changing is role modeling. So think of role modeling. When we were kids, if you participated in skits, if you participated in plays, what you're doing was role modeling. You would take a character, make it your own, and present it to the audience and get a clap or two for that, right? So that is role modeling. And let me share with you a small story to get you to understand the impact of role modeling. So there was this gentleman called John Stagner, right? He was part of a big manufacturing company, and the company started understanding that they were spending a lot of money and they wanted to cut costs, which is a reality in various organizations. Everybody will come to a point where they want to think about how can we make things better, how can we be more efficient, and make sure we have a good profit line, because end of the day, that is business. So this manufacturing company did not really understand where their money was going. And so John set out on this, task to identify a problem. So he had one of the young people from the team, both of them started doing a survey on gloves. Now it is a manufacturing unit, so everybody wears hand gloves and goes into the unit and picks a lot of stuff. So basically, he did a survey on gloves, and what the result came out was that their company bought 400 or 500 different types of gloves at different prices. So what essentially workers would come in, wear their gloves, get into the unit, and start being productive was there were 400 different types of gloves. Now, in an industry, you need probably one or two types of gloves, and they could be at fairly similar prices. So then he looked at what is the financials of this, and then he saw that some of the gloves were coming in at 5 rupees per piece, right, or $5 in John's world, and some of them were coming in at 100. So when you look at the vast difference, you can see that a 5 rupee glove also does the same thing as a 100 rupee glove. End of the day, protecting your hands and making sure you don't get injured. There was no special fire prevention or anti-cut prevention. I know some of you might be thinking that, but that was not the requirement for the manufacturing industry. And so they said, then he looked at this and now he wanted to present this to the board, right? What John did is he identified a problem, he got a solution to it. He probably would have identified a good glove and at a moderate price. Now, the problem is you have to present it to your leadership. All of you, as you're going through your journey in VNR and after, you will come to some stage where you identify a particular project or you identify a particular need. Next is the big step where you want to convince, people who might fund you. You can use this, for any funds or grants that you'll apply while you're in college or later as well, right? So what John did, now he has to go to the board of directors and tell them, oh, by the way, we have a glove problem and this is the solution. Now, board of directors are big people, they might not listen to John. He's not even a vice president of the company. He just joined, say, 10 years ago, right? He's not even a executive in the company. So what John did, he did a little bit of a role play. He just went into the board of directors meeting room, and dumped all the gloves, making a big mountain. He put this entire set of gloves on the table where the meeting was supposed to happen. So basically, by that, what happened is that it caught the attention of the directors. So it has made somebody in a position who is much beyond or much greater in terms of level in a company put an eye on you to say that, okay, what is this happening? Why is there 400 different types of gloves on my table? And then what he also did to prove his point is on each glove, he put a price tag. He said, this is 5, this is 40, this is 80, this is 100. So now the problem became very real to the board. They looked at what they were staring at is a bunch of gloves, different price tags, and then it hit them, okay, this seems to be a problem. And of course they went on a course correction. So sometimes what happens when you identify a good problem to solve is the people who will fund you, the people who might want to take a might help you in taking that idea forward might not be interested. So you will have to play to their logical as well as an emotional mind, which is the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is fostering an understanding of the problem. It is not enough that you have identified a problem and you are ready for a change. It is not enough. Now, tomorrow, if we wanted to, all of us came out through schools, we had school uniforms. Tomorrow, if you feel that school uniforms is no longer the way forward, let's all come in, jeans and t-shirts. You feeling that need or problem and you feeling the need to change is not enough. You have to go convince your teacher, your vice principal, your principal, right? So how will they get convinced? You got to do a little bit of a role play. So this is very important because as you're progressing in your college journey, I'm sure fourth year you'll come, a lot of projects will be there. At that point in time, it's good to identify what's happening, what problem you would like to work with. And then as you're going to present, to your teachers and the HOD, you will have to give a real demonstration of what the problem is and how significant the problem is, right? And that will not only help make you understand the problem, but also will help the others around you who are needed to support you understand this problem. So now we've seen how, we've identified a problem, we have understood the problem, we have tried to demonstrate the problem to others. Now, the main thing is how do we solve this problem, right? So this, I think, is a great opportunity. For all of you, you need to be current in your skills. So developing your skills is the main or the centerpiece of change, right? Because with change, what happens is there is something that needs to be changed, but you also need that skill that will help you move towards what is changing, right? If 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 John from our previous example just put a PowerPoint presentation and put some Excel numbers and tried to share it with their board, probably it would not have gone through the mail chain. Maybe his manager would not have sent it to anybody, right? But with his demonstration and precise point on finance where he tagged those things, he clearly told them this can be the solution. So finance in this aspect was the solution. Cutting down the cost on the gloves, not on other things, is a major impact, and he identified that impact. So build, if John did not know a lot about how a financial model is looked at, or how to look at a profit and loss statement in that example, he would not have had the adequate skill to come up with a solution for this problem. So as you're going through your journey ahead in VNR, I think you will not only need to identify problems, but take the help of the faculty, take the help of all the resources at your hands to build yourself with adequate skills that will help you, take understand this change and create a good solution, sustainable solution to the change. And the final piece that I would like to share at this point is reinforcing. It is not enough that you've identified something, created a solution that works today, but you also need to make sure that the solution is sustainable or can be used, say, for the next year or two. And even after a year, you need to turn back and look at it to still see if the solution works for you. If you keep, going ahead and built a solution, it worked for a year, after a year it's giving you some problems, you don't want to, you need to have that backward rear view mirror to make sure that this is still working. And a great example of this is something that you would have heard of, or you're soon going to hear, in the world of development or application development programming. From almost, say, 15, 20 years ago, there was this model called the waterfall model that people were building programs on, or projects were developed on waterfall model. So basically what it meant was, like a waterfall, you have a starting point and you have an ending point. So basically, if you're developing a website, you know you first meet with the client, you understand what website they want, and then develop, finally give the website to the client. Now, we don't know if the client is happy, the client is not happy. Of course, they're going to express it, but if we followed the waterfall model, there is no way we might be able to like go back and fix it, or fixing it will take a lot of cost, a lot of inefficiencies in the system. So that was a model that probably worked in a manufacturing unit, right? It came in like, you start at the beginning, the first counterbelt moves, it puts in the product, the second counterbelt puts it in boxes, third one puts it in wrapping, and fourth one puts it in a plastic paper ready to be sent out. This model worked there. It could not possibly work while you're developing, say, programs, websites, applications. So then what happened? This was identified. Since they wanted to make sure it's sustaining, they took a look in the rear view and said, no, this is not working. So now everyone talks about agile, the agile model, where at every instance you do things in smaller chunks, so that at every instant there is a feedback loop, ensuring that this is exactly what your client wants, or your, when I say client, you can think of it as your faculty, HOD, principal, whoever it is, right? Because you'll be doing a lot of projects in college for now. So think of it like that. You want to build a small block, show it to them, make sure that things are working, then build the next block that embeds it. Because if you build the entire thing and take it to them, it's a waste of your time. They might not be happy with it. So make sure that you follow iterations, follow this process. So that there is a lot that is changing. Industry trends are changing, but now also how you can be efficient in this change process. Identify the problem, make sure you create an impression when you are defining the problem so that everyone understands it. Develop the adequate skills to solve that problem. And finally, never lose sight of reinforcement, making sure that the problem is delivering 100% on its metrics. If not, if you need to switch gears, put the rear view mirror and make sure that you're changing gears and identifying better solutions to that problem. So this is how you can deal with a lot of change that is going to come your way. This could be technology change, this could be personal change. So with that, I think I will welcome all of you to VNR. Congratulations on selecting one of the best colleges out here, and I would wish you all a very, very bright and successful future. Over to you, Krishnasri ma'am, Sahitya ma'am.
Hello. Jatin, actually, few students wants to interact, so I'm asking them to join through the Google Meet.
Absolutely.
So I'm just over to the students. If anyone is interested to have create their queries, please, you're welcome. Ganesh, anyone is there, ma? Ganesh? Ganesh, are you available? Ganesh?
నేను ఒక్క నిమిషం కాల్ చేస్తాను పైకి.
Ratin Prasad, are you available?
సార్ మ్యామ్.
Ratin, meet our new HOD, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Please switch on your, okay.
Ratin sir.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Fine. Thank you for coming for this. Thank you for accepting.
No, absolutely, my pleasure. Krishnasri ma'am knows, if she picks up the phone, I'll be there. And also applies to Sahitya ma'am as well.
That's what she said, sir.
So actually, we thought of three to four people, and yours is the first name to pick you up because I know.
Thank you.
But even I'm not in touch with you.
No, not at all, ma'am. I'm always around and happy for these interactions because this was something that it helps the students not only understand what's happening, but also we kind of speak a similar language, so it's easier to understand for them as well. And we had Soumya do a great job at explaining various industry trends. So I had similar material to share today, talking about ML, talking about AI, but then I thought she covered all of that, so I took a quick switch for 10-15 minutes ago, which is exactly what we are talking about, right? Change and how to deal with change. So I thought it'll give a little bit of insight to all our students who are joining us. So
But actually, students were interested, but we didn't give the Google link to them. That's why the first session.
Ma'am, we request them to write the doubts or something on paper.
Yes.
Those can be read out.
Absolutely, Krishnasri ma'am, we can get all the questions, maybe consolidate it in a document. You can always mail it to me. I can give back the answers, or even please feel free to share my LinkedIn profile with the students. They can connect to me there. There is not a problem at all.
Even now also, ma'am, they can maybe type their questions now.
Yeah, and type their questions, but I just gave the link also to them to speak out. But they are in 3 different classes. No problem. I'll share your email ID so that they can contact you.
Absolutely.
Okay? And I would like to thank Ratin. So you explained everything very clearly with examples, like how we teach in the class. So it's so nice and then clearly understandable by all the young students. Okay. And you demonstrate, and you told about the demonstrations very clearly. And still I remember your project work. So
Yes,
we
ma'am.
demonstrated that to Dr. D.N. sir.
Exactly.
Still I remember still. So he asked us to do a patent also on that, but we
Wow.
stopped over there.
I
After
know.
that.
I know.
Yeah. So that time, everything, whatever we just invented something, we would like to share to Dr. D.N. sir.
Yes.
And still I remember that situation on that day when we went, I think it is charging, wireless charging.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
project,
Yes,
I still
ma'am.
remember. So it's very nice. And thank you so much. You shared all your expertise from the industry, what you gained. Like you went out as a small student, like young student. Now you came back like an expert in the industry. So I was very happy to see you. And thank you very much for accepting the invitation and sharing your thing.
Ma'am, Krishnasri ma'am, if the 2
Sir.
members they are ready to interact with Ratin sir.
Okay. Please, be on the line. So,
Absolutely. No problem.
Wait for just 2 minutes, ma'am.
okay. So we'll wait. Actually, they are very excited. Because of this corona and pandemic situation, we could not make them to sit in one room like what we used to have.
Okay.
So they were sitting in different places, like isolated, so that to keep them like not in a group kind of thing.
Correct.
That's why we could not have like physically. Otherwise,
Yes.
I would have invited you to do the talk personally, so that they will be more excited.
Ma'am, sure, ma'am. Again, some point of time we request him to meet directly offline, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely, because I need to fight with Ratin. So many issues are there with me. So I don't want to fight online.
I will come with my cheek, ma'am.
So we had so many issues. Okay. So meanwhile,
Good morning.
Ganesh, anyone is there, ma?
Yeah, ma'am. Students
Yeah.
are ready to interact.
Yeah, please give them the
Yeah.
mic and then okay. Over to you.
So which platforms is for ECE, hardware or software?
So please little bit loud, ma. Whoever is talking.
Ma'am, her question is whether we are going to have more opportunities in hardware or software, ma'am. Like that, she's asking question. Huh?
Okay.
Yes.
So I think that's a very valid question. I hope you can hear me. So the opportunities on both sides are pretty extensive because if you're looking at a trend such as artificial intelligence or blockchain technologies, right? What is happening is all of these technologies need adequate hardware to run on, and that's where you hear a lot about quantum computing, right? What is quantum? You're basically creating that three-dimensional data storage capacity because the gigabytes or zettabytes of data that we are producing every day requires adequate hardware to to make sure that the data is available for us to use, right? So I would say, look into things like um, definitely machine learning as a programming language. Look into, if you're keen on the hardware side, look into things that is engulfing quantum computing, quantum mechanics, things like that. I think it is quite relevant and very useful going forward. And I can give you a very personal example on this. Like today, um, you know, IBM as a company, it has split into two companies, one building consulting software solutions on cloud AI, and the second, which is called Kindle, now which I'm part of, is focused heavily on IT infrastructure, which is your servers, your hardware, your chips, all of that. So I would say in today's world, there is great significance for software as well as hardware. So you need to get a good understanding of both first, and then choose, which field you would like to pursue. There's opportunities are ample.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No problem.
Sir, one more question. Sir. Come this way. Hello, sir. It was a really nice talk you've given. We could relate to your things a lot, but being a fresh engineer, this is our first or second, third days of college. We have very big, science and technology industry, but we don't have the leads to where to start our research with, or where we can learn more things. The starting topics that we can go ahead. Can you suggest some topics or courses or books that we can start our thing with?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, as an engineer, we can never complain that we don't have enough problems to solve. You keep looking around you, you will find something that you want to fix, something that you want to create a better solution for. But I think, I can currently I'm reading something called Switch, which is a book. It is by Chip and Dan Heath. I can show you. I have it right here. So I'm reading this book because this is giving me a good insight on how things are changing, how we can go inside, or how we can look at the world with a lens of identifying some problems that we can solve, right? Because unless there is something that is identified, we really don't know whether we want to build that skill. Today you've chosen ECE, you're here. You want to know, there would have been some thought process, right? You would have thought there is a lot of scope, this is a good field, I can get to listen to cover diverse topics. So you would have had some thought process. So every time you look at it, definitely make sure that you're looking at your environment very keenly. Like Krishnasri ma'am had mentioned, the project that we had, it was called Vitricity, right? Wireless electricity. That is our project. When I was in VNR, and essentially it was something at that time. We were still not having all the smartphones. We had a bit of them, but we still had those, Nokia huge phones which needed a cable charger and stuff. So what we did is we tried to solve for a problem which is charging that phone without cable wire. So we did a small project. We built a small MVP, with induction coils using the magnetism, and tried to charge that. So just look around you. You will find ample problems to solve. Don't worry about it, and you can always rely on your faculty. They are extremely experienced. They have seen so many things. They have so many great creative ideas, and never lose sight of the book. So this is one that I'm reading currently. From a technical books perspective, I can look at a few and share a list with Krishnasri ma'am, and she can forward it to you. I've been out of the technical field for some time, so I don't have a perfect grip on that, but I can surely check a couple of things and get back to you on that.
That's it. These are the questions like they are asked.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Ganesh, are there anyone?
No, ma'am. Only two students like came and
Okay.
asked for queries.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Done with yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So, Ratin, thank you so much once again. Okay, we'll invite you for a physical talk. I mean, to talk to your young juniors. Okay.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
so much, and thank you for the opportunity. Hope you
Thank
have a
you, ma'am.
great day. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Ratin.
Ma'am, go for break, ma'am.
Anubhav,
మేడం క్లోజ్ చేద్దామా
over to you. Okay, it's your turn.